Hey guys, Joe Everest, the fence expert. If you're watching the channel, you know where we're at, the beautiful Greenbrier in West Virginia for the Chainlink Fence Manufacturers Institute 2023 Summer Meeting. Now, we've had some table talks with industry professionals. I think you'll agree with me that they went great. Now I've pulled aside a few professionals individually that I think you'll love to hear from. Let's go see what they have to say. All right, guys, so while I was at the Greenbrier, I was actually able to pull aside a few key industry leaders and ask them their thoughts on the fencing industry. We've included a few of those here. The rest will be on the CLFMI page, listed in the comments below. Hey guys, we're here at the CLFMI Summer Meeting, and I was able to snag someone from the group to have a quick conversation about the fence manufacturing industry as a whole. First off, could you introduce yourself and your company?
Yes, I'm Mark Darrell with Lockjoint Tube out of Temple, Texas.
Very good. What would you say, being a member of CLFMI, how has that affected you or the business?
I mean, it's really helped us out substantially because we get a lot of technical questions from a number of different industries.
Sure.
Not only industrial and commercial, different areas, but there's a tremendous amount of resources that CLFMI has. They have years of history that they've actually compiled and put on the website. And that's really helped us out a lot because for one company to go in there and actually create that database,
Sure.
it would take years.
Well, and you would find each company kind of having redundant, labor in putting that together. That was one thing that I was pretty impressed with, is just the amount of resources available through CLFMI. Not the technical data is huge, but it's not even limited there.
Yes, and each individual company, a lot of the members, and Lockjoint included, we have engineers on staff that we actually can help and contribute to that. So there's, like I said, not only the years of data that they've compiled, but new information that we have.
Very good. So it's kind of a back and forth, really, then.
Yes.
Very good. Where do you see the fencing industry going in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
There's a lot of different areas as far as the growth sector for, industrial and commercial. Solar is one of the big areas that's out there now. The specifications for that, I mean, they change constantly.
Sure.
They need a lot of information because even though solar is not a new industry altogether, but a lot of the people there, they don't have the experts in-house on the fencing side. So that's one area that I can see the really next 5 to 10 years to where we can contribute and help those guys out tremendously.
Gotcha. What would you say the biggest opportunity you see in the fencing sector would be?
That's one that I've just touched base on. And that's one thing we talked about the meeting is the solar industry. That one, they have to secure the perimeter around all of their sites. And anybody throughout the United States, you drive through any state, you see the sheer volume and the miles of solar that's out there. And that's one of the industries that's definitely growing.
Yeah, I think we had heard a typical solar farm will be anywhere from 150 to 200,000 lineal feet on one project.
Yes.
Massive.
And that creates another set of logistics for that as far as getting the amount of fencing for that as well too.
Yeah, because when they're ready for it, they'll be ready for it.
Yeah, they give you a couple of weeks notice and then they want it. So that's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. The opposite of that question, what would you see the biggest challenge being in the fencing industry?
One of the challenges that I would see is probably keeping the chain link fencing in like the residential market, because there's certain areas that it's spec'd out, it's only wood only, but one thing that we can do is promote some of the color products, the brown, the green, and the black color fencing, and really promote that product for the residential industry because it looks good. You see it around tennis courts.
Absolutely, it's a great look.
Yeah, it's really good.
Typically the pushback you hear about chain link fence in residential is they don't want the shiny fence.
Correct.
We've got some great options.
We have really good options, and that's one area that we can help promote that a lot better. And a number of our members, practically all of our members, are producing a product for that sector too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks.
Hey guys, we're here at the CLFMI Summer Meeting. I grabbed another fencing professional from the room. You and I have known each other for a little bit, but could you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Sure. My name is Todd Jeffries. I own Imperial Fence Supply. We're headquartered in Atlanta, and we also have another place in Chattanooga.
Very good. So you and I are both newer members in the CLFMI. What would you say the benefit has been to you or your business of joining the industry?
I think so a couple things. I think first and foremost is credibility.
Yep.
You see CLFMI, and everyone in this organization is a leader of the industry, right?
Yeah.
So that's been great. I think a lot of help is with the specs, especially, and also just identifying potential new avenues for chain link usage.
Yeah. Well, in this morning's meeting, we had a great presentation on the solar industry. I knew it was out there, but not at the scale that we were talking about.
I'm wondering who's getting all those jobs.
Right. So, and it's being in this room, right? Being with other industry leaders, getting to know them, making introductions, that sort of thing.
I think another great thing that they do is that the membership's not just chain link fence, right?
Right.
You got people that are selling fittings, you got people selling aluminum, you got sell pipe, you got everything you need all in kind of a one-stop shop.
Yeah, you really see the whole gamut of fencing in one room.
Yeah.
Where do you see the fencing industry being in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
It's got to continue to increase. I mean, it's funny because when times are good, people are buying fences and putting them up. When times are bad, they want to protect what they got, right?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
I think it's going to continually climb.
I think this year we were a little bit hesitant as to maybe where the market was going, but we had a meeting just a few days ago in our company that I haven't seen the decline yet. If anything, we've seen an increase, which is nice in a year like we've had.
I know the numbers very well. We're definitely up, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Absolutely. What would you say the biggest challenge in the fencing industry is right now, just from your perspective?
There's a couple of different issues, right? Some internal, some external. So internal for us, it's training. It's employees, right?
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to run a weaving machine. It's not like something you can just hire off the street.
No.
So, a lot of our weavers, they've got decades of experience.
Yep.
That's not something I can replicate with a guy from high school.
Sure.
And then also I think it's, making sure that chain link fence is something that people still want to use going forward. There are other options available right now.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure that we're promoting chain link in the right applications.
Absolutely. So one of the challenges could simply be just education in the consumer base, just letting them know what options are available, that it's still a viable solution, an economic solution, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Very good. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I appreciate it. Hey guys, we're here at the CLFMI Summer Meeting. We're in a great room of fencing professionals. I was able to grab another to have a quick conversation. Now you and I know each other, but for the viewers out there that may not have met you, could you give yourself a brief introduction?
Absolutely. I'm Chris Babb. I'm a Director of Business Development and High Security Sales with Ameristar Perimeter Security.
And Ameristar, so those of you that watch the channel know we're right down the road in Springfield. Ameristar is basically our neighbor.
Neighbors, exactly, yeah.
Great company, phenomenal product. Where do you see the fencing market going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Next 5 to 10 years. So when you look at just from a holistic perspective, all the different industries, be it education, infrastructure, critical infrastructure, there's a big focus around physical security, perimeter security. So I think we're going to see an increased emphasis around perimeter fencing, be it water infrastructure, power, energy. I know you spoke about that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly education and access control. So
absolutely. So probably growth really across the board there.
Absolutely, yeah.
What would you say the greatest opportunity you see in the fencing sector would be?
I'd have to kind of go back to critical infrastructure. When you look at some of the investments the government has made and some of the legislation we passed in previous years, we've had, for example, in water, we've got our water infrastructure is sorely underfunded, way out of date. Years ago in Dallas, Austin, other areas that are growing, a pump station or a storage tank that was 15 miles out of town is now in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And that fence may be outdated, so there's going to be opportunities for the industry to come in with upgraded to vinyl coated chain link, or something a little bit nicer, a derivative of something that we have to offer. But I think there's going to be a lot of that. It's going to come over the next 5 to 7 years for sure.
You know, and you had touched on this too. So one area that we're taking a hard look at, unfortunately, is education. So just due to recent events, it seems like education is taking a long look at perimeter security.
I would agree with that. And if you follow and watch what some of the state legislatures are talking about, they're really taking a close look at the standards for what the height, the different gauges, whatever it may be on the physical perimeter fencing, perimeter barriers, whatever it may be. So
yeah, they're not really speccing fence anymore. They're giving specifications on what that fence will be.
Right.
The flip side of that question, what do you see the greatest challenge facing the fencing industry at the moment?
So I think it's hard to answer that question because the threats are always changing as well. So
That's fair.
that's going to be an ever-changing, an ever-moving target, if you would say. So depending on what the threats, for example, probably 7-10 years ago, we had that attack on the substation that actually powered Silicon Valley. That was done with rifle fire. And this previous year, we set I think the highest year on record in terms of attacks with automated weapons on our substations. And that's a big problem.
Sure.
And it's a real problem. So now I think we're going to be called on to look at how can we provide solutions that mitigate not only against physical attacks, but attacks that involve ballistics. How can we act as a platform for the peripheral technology that detect those gunshots, that can help authorities understand where's this coming from and who's doing this?
Right.
So we're going to have to get very creative in that regard.
And one of the challenges might be just putting the right information in the right hands that are making those decisions. We talked a little bit this morning about there's ballistic data coming out in regards to chain link fence and mini mesh. So the challenge might be just getting that information in the right hands.
I would agree with you, and I think it's not going to be just ballistic. I think we'll actually migrate into blast technology, mitigation. So it's coming.
That's the world we're living in.
And unfortunately, yes.
So. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Guys, I think you'll agree with me. Interviews went great. We actually have a few more interviews over on the CLFMI page. We'll include a link in the description to that page. For now, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. I'll see you next time.